All right, we are recording. Hello, everybody. It is April 17th, 2020. And as I kind of jokingly say, but it's not really a joke on my recent Zooms, this is capturing a piece of history, a moment in time, because we archive all of these. And if we're watching this 5 years from now, guess what? Just to timestamp this, we are smack dab in the middle of this whole coronavirus craziness. And I know a lot of us are itching to get out there and get back to normal life. So I hope you all are safe. We do appreciate your time and being here. And we intend on delivering value so you can walk out of here today, not just smarter, but also having some actionable items that you can implement in your respective programs. Does that sound good? Everybody give me a thumbs up if you're with me. Okay, like half of you did. That's not cool. That's not a good start. Okay. All right. So my name is Jake Dixon. I am the founder of The Locker Room, and we support productivity coaching programs, brokerages all across the United States. And we are not here today to give shameless plugs to Locker Room. That's not what this is about. We're here to serve you. We're going to bring value. And I'm accompanied here by Jennifer Taylor. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself here in a minute. But those of you that don't know me, boy, I'm going to come at you today from the perspective of the last 3 years. If we have observed over 150 productivity coaching programs in the Keller Williams ecosystem, we have served that many. And so I'm going to talk to you from that perspective. Jennifer's going to talk to you from the perspective of a practicing, still in the trenches productivity coach. And we're going to kind of balance each other out that way, if that's fair. But just to give you a little bit of history, I was a TL for 3 years in Keller Williams, transitioned to becoming a productivity coach back in the latter half of 2016. Didn't know what the hell I didn't know, like many of us starting out, because there's no, here you go, here's how you do it. There is no one way. There's not a lot of systems and models. And that's where we saw an opportunity to build them. And so like many of you, I started out just building something from scratch. I interviewed 62 productivity coaches across the country, finding 61 ways I knew I didn't want to run my program. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, good or bad, it's just how I envisioned it, okay? And in our first year, fast forward 12 months, we produced over $1 million of company dollar and was able to duplicate that for the next 2 years consecutively in building systems, building proven techniques that we can now scale and duplicate. That was represented by 623 closings coming out of the PC program, $3.6 million of agent earned GCI just in that first year. And so part of that perspective is going to be sharing some of that with you today, as well as Jennifer, which I'd love for her to introduce herself to you because she runs the coaching company and we are in business together through the Locker Room as well. But Jennifer, I don't want to steal your thunder, so please tell them who you are real quick and then we'll dive in.
Well, thanks, Jake, for having me and for partnering with me. It's always an honor to share the stage, the virtual stage, if you would. And that's what I love about the Locker Room is that we're a collaborative environment, and that's what's so different. I've been in this business. This is my 18th year, and I've had sales teams. I came as a team leader 8 years ago, served in that capacity for 2 years.
Hey, Jennifer, is she cutting out for anybody else or is it just me?
But I did, yes.
JT, you're cutting in and out. Your internet sucks.
I am? No, I'm at full speed, man.
Nope, you're not. Now you are.
Okay.
So start over. Well, not start over, but you run in a team. You're a team leader.
And my OP came to me and said, there is something called productivity coaching, and I don't know what it is, but I think you do. And because of my previous roles that I had done before, I've been a managing broker of independent firms and a VP of career development. And so I launched 2 programs at the same time for my OP, who owns 6 market centers. And then Diana Kokoska came to me within a year or so and said, hey, can you be a MAPS coach and teach other productivity coaches how to do what you do? Because honestly, the only solution at that time was hire a MAPS coach. And here's the game book. At that time, the game book was already old. And so I'm a co-author of the new game book, which is seriously still paper that you can't get your hands on. So, and there's good information in the game book, but it doesn't tell you the logistics of how to and the tracking. It gives you great ideas. It's very theoretical. And so fast forward, I've had to create my own systems like Jake and decide what to do and what that really looks like. And so I created my own coaching company, and we started propping up other productivity programs at the request of my OP and doing all of that. So I've worked in about nearly 50 offices in productivity coaching and helping other productivity coaches create their programs. Like Jake said, there's a lot of ways to do it. The way I've done it now, I'm a 7th level productivity coach, and I do not coach anybody that's in the program. I coach coaches and run the program, and I work in the locker room. So that's where we are.
Awesome. Well done. All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen. There's going to be a lot of screen sharing today, as you can imagine, with our PowerPoint, and we're going to go fairly swiftly through the points. And so let me get this queued up for us. Share. Expand that. Okay, can everybody see my screen? It should say the 6-figure productivity coach big in front of you. Yes? Okay. I can't see all of you, so I'm just going to depend on, looks like Jennifer Taylor and Kathy Furlong is who I can see right now to make sure you guys give me some thumbs up. So here's the plan of attack today, guys. This is what we're going to cover. Starting on your left-hand side, we're going to cover just kind of the core principles, the underlying principles that are always there. It's less tactical, obviously, but things that are who we need to show up as and more just on a principle level. And then on the right side, we will go one by one over the 8 key factors that Jennifer Taylor and I have put our heads together and come up with that you guys need to know leaving here today. Now, I will preface by saying, look, some of this is probably a review for some of you. And I would argue, unless you have mastered it, it never hurts to hear it again and again and again. And it's not about giving you guys more information today. I don't think one of the things that most of you might need is more information. I'm here to help you take some things that maybe you hadn't quite thought of before or doubled down on before and implement. That is one of the ways you can show gratitude towards us, is not any monetary gain. It's just knowing that we didn't waste our next hour of our life, and neither did you, because you took what you learned and you applied it. Fair enough? By the way, we speak very directly, so if we offend you, sorry in advance. So on the left-hand side, yes, we're going to talk about showing up, being consistent, setting standards and expectations, and knowing what to coach to. And then you guys can see everything else on the right-hand side. So without further ado, let's start, and JT and I will just kind of bounce back and forth for each one of these slides. So here's the first one, guys. I'll kick the party off. You got to show up. You got to show up. I just heard a John Maxwell quote last week on his Facebook Live that he was doing. He said, in good times, people listen to what you're saying. In times of adversity or bad times, people watch what you do. Are you showing up right now as the leader, as the coach that your agents need you to be showing up as? Are you just simply a transactional coach right now, which is what we talked about in our group coaching session yesterday? Or are you being a relationship-based coach? Are they just a 30-minute time block on your calendar once a week, and then you shove them into a group coaching session? Or are you showing that you care and you notice whether they're there and engaging or not throughout the week? Okay, here's what I know as coaches. This is for you. I have tracked everything like a hawk. I told you my perspective today is overseeing 150 different PC programs. I don't romanticize numbers. I don't BS numbers. This is a fact. You have to trust me. Coaches, and all I can speak to is our experience, that engage with us are 493% more productive. This is not anything new. You guys know if agents engage, which is a whole different day in of itself, is getting how do we get agents to engage, right? They're more productive. Well, guess what? We're not immune to that either. How are you showing up? Is this just a hobby to you? Or are you showing up as a leader and a coach? Or are you just kind of like, well, I like training, I like coaching, I'm a successful agent, so I think I'm a coach, but really what I am is a professional advice giver. Come on, I'm preaching a little bit. So you have to be resourceful. That's part of showing up. You have to either create or utilize proven tools and systems, whether you get it from Maps, you get it from Locker Room, or you get it from Rialto, and whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. And I'll shut up here in a minute and let JT get in here, I promise. Treat coaching as a priority. This is not just a side hustle. And again, today's context, with your permission, we're talking to you around earning 6 figures as a PC, okay? I can't tell you how many coaches and programs, they got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're afraid to go all in and commit because they've got a successful production business to it, or whatever the case may be. And I understand that. Multiple streams of revenue is a good thing. But if you can't handle the load, get out of the way. There's a reason Uncle Gary Keller had to fire himself years ago, because he didn't have the capacity and thought somebody else could do a better job than he, right? If you can't handle it, get out of the kitchen, man, or create further opportunity for other people inside of your market center. Hopefully somebody who's been through the program that you can lift up and have as a coach. Proactively contribute to the office. I'm going to let Jennifer speak to that. And then, of course, put your ego and drama aside. Man, you got to rise above the noise. There's a lot of stuff that can get thrown at you, whether it's agents, leadership, ALC members, believe it or not, who might not be all hands on deck with you. Maybe that's on you because you haven't communicated your value yet. But there's haters out there. There's a lot of noise out there. When productivity is down, it's probably because your drama is up, and vice versa. And so, JT, why don't you speak to us on a practical level how you show up for your coaches and the agents in the day-to-day operations of an actual PC program?
Sure. Well, one of the things that reminds me of just hearing you go through those things reminds me of the book Extreme Ownership, right? It's written by the Navy SEALs. And I would say that that book and studying extreme ownership, read it and show up. Like, do what the whole premise about is really showing up and preparing for the battlefield, right? So if you can imagine, if you had the same perspective with your team leader, your agents, that the Navy SEALs do, when they go in, not one person can be a weak link and not show up. If one person doesn't show up to do their job, it could be detrimental to the lives of many others, right? And so that's exactly how I've always approached it. Showing up has never been a problem or anything, because when you show up, right, your business grows to the extent that you do. Show up, be engaged, be a leader, contribute. Right now, you should be on every team. If you're having Zoom team meetings, you should be on every team meeting there is. You should be active and collaborating with the people in your market center via text, on Facebook, are you doing care calls, not just to the people that you coach, but are you calling the staff and checking in on them? So really, you have to be, everybody's watching. One of the things I learned from Diana Kay was that everybody's watching. Imagine, when you go to family reunion or mega camp, you are looking. And the coach, they're looking at you, coach, because how the coach does, everybody does. It's your standards. So if Jake showed up late for calls, how often do you think we would be on time? So I think that's the biggest thing, is just showing up. Read Extreme Ownership. It'll change your life. Really, it really will teach you how to show up for others.
Awesome. I love that. So I'm going to move to the next one, guys. So number 2 is be consistent. And by the way, if you're thinking this, yes, we will do our best to leave time at the end for questions. So if you have questions, just write them down and we'll be happy to stay after. So number 2 is being consistent. Again, nothing new here, not earth-shattering. You already know this, but are you demonstrating this, right? I'm a firm believer of time on task over time, okay? I actually earned the nickname in my Fort Mill, South Carolina market center when I was a PC there of Tot Tot, because apparently I said time on task over time so much that one of the agents started calling me Tot Tot. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cute, but okay. So anyways, consistency is what wins championships. To use sports analogies, you look at it across the board, consistency wins, man. I don't know where some of you are at right now in your PC journey. Maybe you're brand new and trying to figure out this whole thing. Maybe you've been doing it for several years. But what I do know is consistency is critical, not only for ourselves, but as a role modeling behavior for the agents that we serve. Like she just said, if I'm hit and miss, I'm in and out, and I'm unreliable, what message does that send? What standard does that set? How might they become like me in that way? Because people grow into the conversations, verbal and nonverbal, that we create around them, right? And so part of this is having patience, as my friend Hank says, patience with a sense of urgency. Are you playing the long game, or are you only making decisions right now in the short term? Out of fear, out of influence of others, instead of saying, no, this decision aligns with my long-term vision of serving and helping others. And so it has to make sure it aligns, and then you practice patience with a sense of urgency. Act now, but be willing to apply time on task over time and commit to the process. This is not an event. You all know that. Coaching is not an event, it's a process. And the same is true for us, okay? So you gotta chill out a little bit on expecting instant gratification here. You're building a business, okay? It takes time.
Jake, that reminds me when you say that, like just the time on task, one of the things that demonstrates that, because some of these things can be theoretical. So some of the things that demonstrate the fact that you are patient with a sense of urgency, or that you're consistent, the consistency is so key, is having a booking site. If you don't have a booking, you have to have a booking site as a coach, because that creates consistency. You're telling them when to show up, and then you're letting them know when you'll show up. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to interject that there, that's one of the ways that I have shown consistency is by having a booking site.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for that. And along those same lines, it's focusing on our leading indicators. Guys, you know this as well as I do. When we're coaching agents, how many of them are judging success or failure based on lagging indicators? How many closings they've had, how much money they've earned? We have to get them started. We got to get the plane off the ground, and it's same for us, right? How many contacts have I made today? Instead of asking my agents and just trying to go in management mode, what about me? Am I script and role playing every day, right? And so focusing on what you can control, especially those leading indicators, instead of only focusing on the lagging ones, because this takes time. I can't tell you, I mean, it's some of my early days, you know, and some of you can relate, I'm getting little dinky checks, a handful of them coming in, and then all of a sudden one day it's the whole gradually and then suddenly concept. That's the compound effect, man. And you look at this, I have monitored this like you wouldn't believe. If you're a new PC starting out or relatively new and you have not hit momentum yet, as long as you've been doing and hustling and all the things along the way, like clockwork, it takes 4 to 6 months from my calculations. Guys, I have observed that time and time again with over 150 productivity coaching programs. 4 to 6 months, then you will start to hit the wave of momentum. If it's lower than that, I hope you'll come back to me and say, Jake, you were wrong. But at least expect it and be willing to apply that time on task like we keep talking about here. And then finally is playing the long game. I already talked about that, but I got to tell you, just like agents, we're going to coach the coaches here. If you are running your business on emotion, I fear for you. You have to run your business on logic like a CEO, by the numbers and the data coming in, because those are the indicators, right? But if you are on the ebb and flow of your emotional roller coaster, like, well, today I don't really feel like it, I'm going to call in sick for group coaching because I don't know what I'm going to be talking about anyways. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. No, I'm teasing. Y'all get what I'm saying, though. You can't have the emotion. It's already too emotional because you got your own junk going on, and people think you're supposed to be the expert and unbreakable. Now you got to carry the weight of 40 other clients and what's going on in their lives. Treat it like a business, run it like a business, still be human, yes, but you got to be consistent. And the only way to be consistent, in my opinion, is focusing on what I can control and what are those measurables, because anything I can measure can be improved. Jennifer, what do you have to add to this?
I think, you know, one of those tools, again, that helps you run your business like a business and be a professional is, are you set up as a business? or do you collect this like a commission check, like a referral fee, or are you actually running this as a coaching business? Which means you have a checking account, you have business, right, budgets, you use a P&L, you know exactly what every transaction costs you. Therefore, you can decide how to scale your business up, because you can't ever get to the 7th level if you don't understand cost,
Right.
because it has to be worth it financially, right? And so you have to build something that's scalable. It's just like being an agent. Don't hire a launch coach if you don't have an admin, because you're going to become your launch coach's administrator.
Can I get a freaking amen on that, man? We are going to talk about that some more, guys, but wow. Anyway, go ahead.
An org chart, an economic model to follow, the P&L, all of those tools are running it like a business. Do you have a coach? I mean, rip the band. Do you have a coach, or are you the coach? I'm the coach. I know it all. You won't ever know it all. We all need a business coach. So that's another important thing about that, because it does keep you focused week after week after week.
Yeah, and we're going to get into more of that later too. But yeah, let's keep going here. So setting clear standards.
Property Brothers.
Okay, then muted. Set clear standards, guys. I got to tell you, I mean, everything rises and falls on expectations and standards, right? A lot of the PC programs that we have the chance to work with, you can always follow the breadcrumb trail back to the likelihood that the coach didn't set clear enough expectations and standards. So if you're a coach out there right now, this is I'm hard love for you here. If you're complaining, let's use the word, that all these agents are coming to you, knock, knock, you got a minute, and you're like, good God, I just feel like I'm an extension of the broker, you know, the compliance department. All they want is contract help. That's on you. Your DNA is all over that. You're teaching people how to treat you. What's the other quote? You can't complain about what you tolerate. What are the standards?
Yeah.
And we're going to get into that on the next slide too, as far as here's what you should be coaching to. Again, I'm not talking to you all if you're running a program of 5 agents because it's a side hustle for you. Today, we're bringing it as if this is your one thing, because I'm going to earn multiple 6 figures through the success of others.
Yeah, this is a 7th level conversation.
Correct.
And I think that's really important to realize. You know, it's like Gary Keller always says from the stage, this is called mega camp.
Yeah.
Not boot camp, right? So everything that we talk about, and a lot of people I've heard over the years say, well, how did you get there? I want to know what you did. Well, you learn all of those principles by following the simple things that we have in place, business and systems and models that we have in place for you to be able to duplicate that. But this is to be a 7th level productivity coach. And you do have to have standards and expectations. So again, one of the tools that we use to communicate those standards and expectations is a weekly productivity coaching orientation. That's where we set the expectations, because the coaching has been sold to them through the recruiting process, hopefully, and or through by you, hopefully. And then you have to set expectations so they understand that it's not a 24-hour help desk. What can they expect from you as a coach? And that also starts with your leadership, wouldn't you say, Jake? The expectations of, like, because again, if you're being hired to be the broker and productivity coach, then by all means you better show up as the broker and the productivity coach. But you need to have very clear things that let you know, this is when I play broker and this is when I play coach.
That's exactly right. And a lot of you are, I know I can tease when I say this. Some of you also feel like you're the assistant team leader with all these recruiting expectations on you, but we'll talk about that. Great. Yeah, exactly right, Jennifer. And so day one of starting my PC program in Fort Mill, South Carolina, bullet point number 2 is what I wanted to do with unwavering belief. I don't care how big. I got so sick and tired of going to family reunion and stuff where people would only ask, so how many agents are in your program? Who freaking cares? That's the wrong question. If I don't have a relationship with that person, it doesn't matter. I'm not here to do it at growth at all costs. We are a company of attraction. We recruit a ton of people into Keller Williams, and it is our responsibility to deliver on that value proposition that, call me old school, I still see us as a coaching and training company, not a tech company, but that's a whole different thing. We're on the front lines of it. We got to deliver on the value proposition that they were promised. And how do we do that? It's John Maxwell through and through, right? 3 things. Do you care about me? Can you help me? And can I trust you? And I believe the old quote of people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. We got to start asking ourselves, how am I going to demonstrate that? How can I guarantee that every agent who enters and or leaves my program can check those 3 boxes per John Maxwell's standards there, okay? Third bullet point there too, I just want to hit on is effectively communicating up front. Think of a doctor's office. Some of you were with me a couple weeks ago during boot camp and you would have heard this. We should not end a conversation, at least in the early stages of the game, without saying something like, so here's what's going to happen next. That's part of standards and expectations. They are coming into this scared, naked, and afraid, not knowing, because they just left their Monday through Friday 9 to 5, where they were put in a box, told what to do, exchanging time for money. You are their rock. They do want, in some cases, to have that security saying, this person that I'm investing in and they're investing back into me knows what in the hell they're doing. So end your conversations with something to the tune of, okay, agent, great session today, blah, 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 blah. Now here's what's going to happen next. And you can't, go ahead, please.
Well, that's role modeling the behavior of a good agent in their conversations with clients anyway, right? Here, when will you hear from me next? What are the next steps? Here's what you should expect from me. So we have to be modeling those scripts for them in the way that we treat them. They're looking at us for everything.
That's right.
Right? Everything. So don't ever feel like, oh, that went really well. Also remember this, the person that did the most talking thinks it went the best.
Bingo. Bingo. And what could easily happen then is you end up running a cheerleading program. You're not running a coaching program. Care and candor. You have to be able to say and or ask the things that most people wouldn't be willing to do to retain that you are their coach. I don't necessarily need more friends, and I'm certainly not your boss, but I am your coach. All right. So anyway, setting clear expectations and standards.
Well, I like that you say that I have a script. For the first meeting, right, they go to their orientation and then they have their first coaching session, and it is about getting to know them and learning all about them. And I say, this is all about you. It is always all about you. And we'll get to know each other personally as we go through this process together. But we're not here to be friends. I'm your coach and you're the player. And on the flip side of this, we may become friends along the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good. Cool. All right. And then finally, through the core principles, again, these are just the underlying things that always need to be active and paid attention to, is knowing what in the hell to coach to. This is a big one for me because I know I wish somebody would have told me this day one, week one, when I was brand new, never coached before. Okay. What do you coach to? And this is part of that expectations conversation. I have uncovered, these are my 5. Take it or leave it. It doesn't have to be your 5, but this is what I choose to focus on and where I want to win the mind share battle, because I'm about to say something that all of you will probably say, oh my God, yep, that's us. You are not a new agent coaching program. Does your market center see you only as that? If so, we need some conversation there. We need some coaching around that. If I was to walk through the doors of your market center and ask any agent that I would just casually bump into, hey, what do you know about this PC thing? What would their answer be? Most times their answer is going to be either, I don't know about it, shame on you, or number 2, oh, I think that's that new agent training or coaching thing, I don't know. Guys, you got to tell your story, okay? And that's, again, a slide to come later, but here's what I know. If we coach, I mean truly coach to these 5 things: mindset, activities, results, skill set development, and systems and processes, you will win the mind share battle and teach people how to treat you, because now I'm setting the stage. I am not that 24/7 help desk. I am not your command.loop guru. I am certainly not the broker unless you are getting paid to be that person. I'm the coach. And when you think of any one of these 5 things, I want you to think of me. I don't care production level. I don't care experience. This is the things this is your 20%, guys. So Jennifer, what might you add to that? What's your experience with this? Agree, disagree?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And when you scale this to become a 7th level PC, when you scale it, you cannot be all of these things to your coaching department, company, program, whatever you want to call that, okay? One person can't be all of this to be 7th level. 7th level means that it runs without you in it, okay? 7th level doesn't mean you get to cherry pick who you coach. It does happen at 7th level. You can decide who you're going to coach and not coach, but that's not what it means. That shouldn't be the desire behind it. So you can't be all things to all people, and you can't be the best. So, the first place is get an administrator to help run the administrative side of your coaching business. There is administrative sides that have to happen. There are bulletin boards to be done. There are emails and communications. There are marketing pieces. All of those things need to be done. And then you're doing it like a single agent or a single coach. But to scale it, you have to follow the model. And it's the same model. The second hire actually should be a systems coach, a systems and procedures processes coach. Because those are the how can I need somebody to sit next to me. Cut out those things first. Cut out the administrative work, cut out the systems and processes by having a coach to do those things. We call it a systems coach. And her mind is powered by systems and processes. As a matter of fact, she owns her own contract to close or administrative business. She's brilliant. But that offloaded those things for me, but because in order to win the battle, you cannot be it all. You're to be the general on the battlefield as a 7th level PC. So yeah, and really understanding you have to be clear. It goes back to expectations. And so you can't just say this is what I'm about and then you do something else. You have to walk the walk. You have to inspect what you expect. And that's really, really clear. And you have to be always looking for talent, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, cool. So these are the core principles. We're going to get to more now of the tactical element of things here, more of the doing piece, if you will. So first one, guys, of the 8 is setting goals and getting into action. No kidding. And yet it's amazing to me how many PCs don't. Are you treating this like it's a market center within a market center? Are you treating this as if you're probably the #1 largest mega agent team in the whole office? And so we got to know, to get where we want to go, what are my goals? What are my action items? And here's the big thing. This is where you can take it from being a productivity coaching program, which suggests to me it's a group of individuals who only care about their own individual goals. And how, as a coach, can I formulate a team? Team versus a group, right? What is a team? We're all marching towards one common shared vision, mission, and we're being held accountable to the collective efforts of everyone, right? Not just myself. And so our job as a coach is not only to cast the vision, but get really detailed and have a scoreboard visually. Every week when we meet in group, for example, we're going to spend the first 5 minutes reviewing, here's our team goal. All your individual goals are wrapped up inside of that, yes, but here's our team goal, and here's where we're at in relationship to that goal. I'm telling you all, this is a secret sauce, because when you can create a movement in a team, not just a group of individuals, they start coming to you saying, hey, coach, where are we at? How do we do this week? Did we hit goal? Their mind is so much more than just themselves, because they're a part of something bigger than themselves now. Make sense?
Well, and you don't know whether or not you're running it like a business if you don't have these things in place, right? So it goes back to that piece. And why or how could you possibly coach other people to build a business and to scale a business if you yourself aren't doing the same? If you don't have your own economic model and your own budget and a 1-3-5, how can you possibly teach others? Is it that you just know the tools, but do you really believe in them? And people see straight through that. People see straight through the fact if you're gonna, you're just coaching. Like you show up, you don't prepare, right? Being prepared is about having an economic model and knowing the goal, because you need to know, just like agents, how many agents do you need to have on your roster? How many listings do they need to take? And so that moves us forward to the entire goal. But you have to run it like a business. So yeah, I find that a lot of productivity coaches don't do this because they're really not skilled in it. And I know we'll get to that in a minute, but you're not comfortable. You don't teach business planning clinic in your own market center because you don't think you can.
Yeah, that's exactly right. She's right, man. And by the way, that 1-3-5 with accountability, keyword accountability, first of all, are you strategically inserting discomfort into your worlds, whether it's hopefully through you having a coach because you are a coach, or minimum, at least it's somebody like your TL or a fellow coach that is willing to take a stance for you like you're taking a stance for others. All right, but the 1-3-5 of that, I mean, you mean to tell me any one of us 3 months ago would have thought we'd be in a crisis like we are in today? Are you kidding me? So you have to be agile. You have to be willing to pivot as a business owner. I do not believe in creating business plans that are much more than 6 to 12 months out. You don't know what artificial intelligence is going to look like in a year. You don't know what virus is going to hit the economy and everything else, right? So you're going to end up revisiting that thing a billion times over. But having that 1-3-5, which is a simplified business plan with accountability, is the whole deal, because that's what you're asking to do of other people as well. And I want to add to that last point here, man, you have got to be vulnerable. Some of you are not telling your story. You are the best kept secret of that market center. And I just envision a world where everybody has an all hands on deck approach, no different when Bold is coming into town. Why isn't that same level of enthusiasm going from your DFI to your agent services to ALC and everyone in between? Probably because you haven't casted your vision strongly enough as the leader. So next ALC meeting, ask for 5 minutes. Next team meeting, ask for 5 minutes. Stand up in front of the room with your palms sweaty or whatever and deliver your vision for the program, because that's an attractive thing. People will want to be a part of that, and now we can start giving them a sense of FOMO. They're missing out on something that's bigger than just themselves. Anything else to add to this one, JT?
Well, I think it just goes back to showing up. Yeah. So like if you show up, are you showing up at your ALC meetings? Do you attend the ALC meetings? Do you attend every team meeting? No. Non-negotiable, right? Are you engaged? Do you meet with your leadership regularly? Are you engaged with them? Are you showing up so that you hear what's happening, and then that way you can set expectations of who you are and who you aren't? Because the truth is the agent population does not know the difference between you and staff. Even if you're not on payroll and not on staff, you are, because you represent leadership. And leadership is not a job title. Does anybody have leadership on their job title? No, we have like productivity coach. But leadership should be the job title, right? Leader.
Yeah. Amen to that. All right, guys. So number 2, this is a biggie, and I don't know how you do it. Not going to even dare plug what we have, but you got to find something, man, or create your own. I don't care. Even if it's a stupid Excel spreadsheet or something, you better have a way that agents can report, track, and you can coach to the numbers. If people ask me a lot of times, how did we have such extraordinary success in a short period of time from nothing? And I would say, well, there's a lot of reasons, but I think one of which being coaching to the numbers. I mean, if John Davis, when he was with the organization, taught me one thing during my time as team leader, it was taking a set of data like the multi-year trends report and knowing how to decipher and extract what the story is from that data. And so now from a guy who got straight up D's in high school in math, and my dad till this day makes fun of me because I suck at math. Somehow, some way, I've become pretty good at it because I love the numbers. In fact, it's not even the numbers I love, it's the story that the numbers tell me, okay? You must know, leaders, the language of your real estate program, of your PC program, I'm sorry, the language of real estate. We teach agents what was the average days on market, sale price to list price ratio, all these things. Let me ask you, how long does it take on average for an agent to get their first listing? On average, the agents who are actively engaging in your coaching program, what do they earn compared to the ones who are disengaged? There's all sorts of categories. I have no shortage of them, but it takes your level of awareness and tracking to be able to speak to it. I knew in Fort Mill, after 3 years of being a PC there, the agents, check this out, the agents who are actively engaged in the coaching program with me would earn 255% more in GCI than the agents who were not engaged. I didn't need anything else. That was I'm shouting that from the rooftops any chance I get, and I'm starting to attract cappers and other people into my world because they want results like that. It changes the narrative, but you have to coach to the numbers and have the awareness. JT, you say all the time, a great coach coaches to the what?
To the gap.
To the gap. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the gap. We always coach in the gap, right? We coach in the gap, meaning it's the difference between the goal and the actual. That's where the coaching lies, is in the gap. It's not coaching to the results. Those are lag measures. They're done. That's great. But it's the difference of what's actually happening to what they originally said. And goals can be changed. I love that you mentioned, planning out far. I did the call last week for the locker room on 12-week year. I believe at 12-week stints at a time. And right now, with the current climate that we're in, it's so applicable because we cannot plan out too far with that. But mind the gap. If you've ever been to Europe, it says mind the gap. The gap is the space between the train, the metro, the rail, and the platform. What happens if you don't mind that gap? You fall down in it. You could actually be killed. And so as a coach, we just mind the gap. And so when they report their numbers to me, it is, what's the goal? What's the actual? What's your gap?
Yeah.
And they know. They come into the conversation, okay, the goal was 10. I got 7, so I have a gap of 3. And we talk about 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
What prevented them from hitting 7? What is the 3? What happened? What could you do differently? But then we go into the models and skills of coaching. But that's where your skill set lies. And so if you don't coach in the gap, my guess is you need to work on your skills as a coach.
There you go. And what we're saying is, yes, in your typical one-on-ones, we have a whole outline of what your first 3 coaching sessions should look like. We've got the outline of what a 30-minute traditional session should look like, broken down by minutes. I strongly believe, though, if an agent walks through my door or whatever, the first 5 minutes minimum, I don't care what they want to talk about because they turned in their prep form or whatever. Hey, tell me about how to do a 7th level virtual open house. Cool. Yeah, we'll get to that today. And yet first, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at your numbers. Because will agents hide if given the opportunity? Heck yes. They will hide behind the reality of what's going on, and you guys will just talk in circles for 30 minutes about virtual open houses, and they leave there not doing it anyways.
Right. Well, that's one of those things that I always tell them in the expectation conversation what my job is. And I'll explain it 2 ways. One is, my job is to walk around your boat and kick holes in the soft spots. Let the water come flooding in and then shore it up.
Yeah.
Then shore it up so you don't sink. And the other is I walk around with the flashlight. So tell me, where will you hide? Yeah. The numbers, I love you. The numbers show no favoritism, right? We've all been looking at the numbers every day right now of what's happening with COVID. So, but that's the flashlight. We're looking for the curves. We're looking for the ups, the downs, things flattening out. So yeah, you've got to have a flashlight and hunt for it. You have to care, though, in order to do that, right, Jake? You have to care enough to not let them sink or hide.
That, and enough to know that it's never a question of, do I care about you? It's because I care about you, I'm asking you to report your numbers. I am not your boss. People are not numbers, but our numbers do represent our people. And so by having that relationship, they now understand why you're doing what you're doing and asking for it. Because if you have agents and you have some sort of tracking and reporting system and they're not reporting, which is, I know I'm hitting the hot button here for a lot of you probably, the next question should be, what are they hiding from? It takes 2 minutes. They're hiding from something, and if you let them off the hook, you again are teaching them how to treat you. And are you being an effective coach that gets results, or are you just being more of a friend who allows them to get away with it?
You know what's interesting about that is that we all do this, so we know it's true. When they've hit their goals or achieved what they said, they shout it from the rooftops. So they're happily enter in their numbers and track everything and tell you it because they hit it. It's when they don't, you don't even have to put them in. I already know you didn't do it.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah,
And
but you have to call them out on it and get consistent with it because it's so much more fun to celebrate.
it sure is. It sure is. And it's not good or bad, guys. You got to create a safe place. You got to create a judgment-free zone, and they're more likely to do that and be vulnerable with you. But she's exactly right. Think about sports. When the team's winning, who gets the credit? The players. When the team's losing or they have a terrible season, whose fault is it? It's the coach. Okay?
They get fired.
We got a lot of fair weather fans out there, and we got to make them into business owners who are accountable to their own actions and activities without fear of judgment or feeling like they're going back to corporate America with a boss. It's not about that. Trust me, I've got way better things to do with my time than chase you down today and every week to say, did you report your numbers? Come on, be an adult. Adulting's not that difficult, okay? It's because in us doing a great job explaining the why behind it that you're more likely to get their buy-in. So.
It reminds me of a conversation. Many of you were probably on this call. It was years ago. And I just remember the question being, would you be willing to stake your job on it? Coaches, would you be willing to stake your job on them hitting their goals? Should you be rehired every year as the coach of this team? Because who's the first person to get fired when they don't win? The coach. And so are you willing to stake your job on it? That's that extreme ownership, right? Are you willing to say, at all means possible, I will be in relationship. I will show up. I do care. I know their numbers better than they know their numbers.
Yep.
And we do have to do that too, coaches. You can't just push it all off on them to know their numbers. You need to teach them how to care about their numbers by caring about it more first, right?
Exactly. And we'll get off this topic, I know, but that I agree with you. That is in the early days, the way I got the most buy-in ever with them reporting their numbers, as I look back, is when I was talking about it as a program. Meaning, hey guys, first 5-10 minutes of the group session, here's where we're at, here's what we did, here's our conversion rates for listing appointments, here's our conversion rates or contact ratios. I was talking the talk, and go figure, it's true when people grow into the conversations we create around them, okay? So there's that. Create a team culture. Man, we were talking about this earlier, guys. It's not a program. Please, for the love of all that's holy and righteous in this world, please remove the language of people graduating out of your PC program. Stop it. Unless your market center leadership is telling you otherwise, don't let me get in the middle of that fight. But you need to stop using the graduated out language. Why? Would you coach an agent to say, hey, I just want to be your realtor for this transaction? Or are we taught to say, hey, I want to be your real estate agent for life? Well, guess what? I want to be their coach for life. Tony DeCello himself, Diana Kokoska's husband, said every agent should be in productivity coaching for at least their first 2 years or until they are a sustainable capper. And he defines sustainable capper as somebody who would cap in 6 months or less, regardless of the market conditions. So, coaches, some of you need to raise your leadership lid and stop seeing yourself just as a new agent program because it's auto enroll and you got your lead receiving all day long, right? It's time to change the story. How? Creating that team culture, not a program culture, group of individuals like we talked about. The beginning of that is sharing and being vulnerable with your goals. Do you have an MVVBP for your coaching team? Hello, what's it about? What do you stand for? What are your unapologetic, unwavering belief systems? Here's the thing. When I talk to many agents and they say, why did you join Keller Williams? How many of them actually joined because of splits and profit share? Come on. Most of them joined because of what's on your wall in the training room, like the Y4C2Ts, God, family, and then business, in that order. They aligned with what you believed in. Simon Sinek, I just posted it yesterday on my Facebook page. The goal in business is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. All the agents need what you have, even when they don't want to admit it. But the goal in business is to do business with those who believe in what you believe. The only way I can answer, do they believe what I believe, is right here. It's called the MVVBP. You doing your own version of it so you can speak to that in your information sessions, team meetings, things like that, okay? So we got to take this group of individuals who are only self-absorbed in their own goals, their own worlds, and create a team with a unified front where everybody is protecting the next person. This person over here, when I played college and professional baseball, if I didn't show up, my teammate would grab me by the neck and slam me against the wall saying, either get the F off the field or you better show up the way I expect you to. Why? Because my coach created that kind of environment. Now, I'm not saying get physical, but the point there is a team doesn't let each other slack. And what does that do for you as a coach, Jennifer Taylor? It's a form of leverage, isn't it? Can she hear me? JT,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
You switch. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're frozen. You were frozen for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, the minute that you do this and you switch and you create this team culture, people want to be a part of something. And so it becomes a magnet attraction where they want to be in, they want to do it because they see great value there. They're appreciated and they feel like they're a part of something and they know what that something is.
Yeah.
And that's critical. So one of the ways that we do it, I mean, I have a mascot. It's the penguin. Right? And we do everything with penguins. It's just a mascot. It's a team mascot. Right? Everybody speaks the same language. We're on the same place. They know how to show up. We have a systematic way of doing things. And it works. It works. And we are the largest team in the market center, and every other team looks at it that way.
Yeah.
We've got some big teams in our market. We have many, many MREAs in my market center, and we are just another one of them.
I'd like to add something to that real quick too, is guys, if you feel like you're alone, check out what I'm about to say, probably for most of you. I'll predict a lot of you watching this, you have teams coming to your PC and asking you directly or not, and you feel like they're poaching people from your program. Come on now. I can't be the only one. Yeah. Teams see it as a cesspool of talent, man. They're like, hey, you got a buyer's agent for me? Can I just nab all these people? And then they leave your program or whatever your standards are around that. So let's shape this. You are a team if you buy into this. When an agent comes to you and says, I think I'm going to consider joining a team, or they get approached by a team who's looking to poach them away from your program, you can look at them square in the eye and say, what are you talking about, Willis? You are part of the team. And guess what? And I'm not looking to create friction here, but just hear me out, coaches. You're thinking about going to a team who's probably going to expect you to lead generate and do all the things anyways that you're avoiding right now. And then you're going to give up 50% of your commission when you've got a team right here with me where I only take 10% of your commission or whatever your setup is, and we provide the most training and support and tools for you. You are a part of the team. We got to change the way they look at things, right? When they say things like, I think I should join a team, their mindset is in the traditional sense. It's your job to create a culture of a team so they don't feel any reason to leave you, Gary Keller. Okay? No reason to leave the team. You are the team. Am I right, JT?
Absolutely. I love that you say that. So what we do is we'll serve them up on a silver platter for you when they get to the point, because what is the reason why people join the team? So Jake just said it, right? Because they want to be fed leads. So get real clear with them real quick. The reason they want to join a team is they want leads, and they think they're going to be handed leads, right?
That's right.
So they're not going to be.
You sound like a robot. Blah, blah, blah. JT's.
They're just going to be held accountable. And so they're, can you hear me?
No, your internet sucks, man. You sound like a robot.
It doesn't. I have gotten in and off my thing a bazillion times.
It's you.
Over
Everybody
here.
does it. Take ownership, coach.
What is it? I can't help it.
You're in the middle of Georgia. That's what's, no, I'm teasing.
Move on. Well, that's probably what it is, right? I can't help it. I don't have good internet today. I don't know.
Most of the time we can hear you.
I'll come back. Go ahead. Move on. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. All right. So coaching versus training, guys. I mean, every slide here seems like it's the next big one, but I just gotta vent for a minute. Coaching versus training is two very different things, guys. And many productivity coaches, I'm not looking at any of you, got chosen for this role because you had a successful real estate business or something like that. Well, by default, that doesn't mean you're a great coach. Love you, mean it, right? I think you figured that out by now. A great player doesn't automatically make a great coach. Ask Bill Belichick about that, of the New England Patriots. Guy's never played a single snap of an NFL football game, and yet he's going to go down as one of the best coaches in history. You're a student of the game. It's an art form knowing how to coach versus teach. So many productivity coaches, I'm saying this because I want you to ask yourself, how are you showing up? But so many productivity coaches think they're coaching when in reality what they really are is a professional advice giver. You cannot insert your own bias. Your way that worked for you doesn't mean it's the way that's going to work for the other person. You're spending 80% of your one-on-one sessions telling that person what to do. It should be 80% of that session you asking questions, them self-discovering what they should do because it works for them. And the commitment levels rise up. My children, I have a 6-year-old. If I tell Ava to go clean her room, what's her reaction going to be? Rebellion, right? She's not going to clean that room. I'm telling her, but if I can help her self-discover the benefits, or that she can get a new shiny toy at the store by cleaning her room, now there's something in it for her versus just being told what to do. So I said it earlier, it's a process, not an event. It is development focused, not just learning. Right now, today, this is not coaching. JT and I can't coach all of you. This is a training. You know, it's more of a unilateral versus bilateral conversation. And you can see the rest of the bullet points here, but the self-discovery, the question asking thing is huge, guys. Instead of you telling people what to do, because a lot of you could be high D personalities and lack patience. So you just want to give the answers. Or let me connect with some of you. It's because your dang heart is so big and you just want to help them so stinking much you can taste it. And so what you end up doing, unmistakably, is give. I want to be that professional problem solver. After all, that's how I show my value, right? And the last thing sometimes agents want to hear is some snazzy question that you ask them and they're like, just give me the answer, just tell me what to do. So I'm not taking a side that one is better or worse. There is a time and a place for both. What I'm submitting to you is know the difference between the two and know which hat you are wearing right now in that conversation. Does that make sense? Jennifer, what would you add to that? Are you back? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me like a normal person?
For right now, yes. Again, most of the time it's good.
That's so weird to me because my thing says 100%. Anyway, it is, this goes to skills as a coach. This goes to you personally knowing your skill set as a coach. You diving in and having skills, not just relying on the fact that you think you know it all or you have a lot of experience. So you have to keep sharpening your coaching tools. Do you know the 4 cornerstones of coaching? Because if you know the 4 cornerstones of coaching, you will not be a talking head. You will understand that everybody, first cornerstone, is whole, resourceful, and creative. So there's no need for you to have all the answers. There's no need at all. And sometimes they just say, just tell me the answer. And that's okay too. And sometimes you can say, do you just want me to tell you? But when other people think that it's their idea, how much more likely are they to take action than you just telling? Because Jake and I can tell you all these things for an hour. And are you going to do them? Only if you had an aha around it while we're on this call and you take action. Mm-hmm. So be resourceful, right? Know your coaching models and your skills. Be skilled. There is a skill for this. And it's 2 different things, right, Jake? There's running a program, which is running a business. You get your license as a realtor. You then have a real estate business, but do you know how to run it, right? There's the infrastructure. And then do you know how to sell? How many of you have said, now you have your real estate license, now I need to teach you how to sell real estate? Because getting your real estate license doesn't teach you anything about running a real estate business or how to sell real estate. Right. It's a licensure process, it's legalities, it's keeping yourself out of jail, and it's agency, how to protect the public. It's all written for protecting the public. So there you go. I can get real passionate about the skill piece because I am big on coaching skills. So do what you need to do to leverage the logistics, running your coaching first and dive into skill.
Yeah, and you guys, Jennifer is one of the best I've ever been around about coaching to the skill of the art of coaching. And to know the difference, a great book that just rocked my world was The E-Myth Revisited. If you want to know the difference between running a business and just being really good at what you do kind of thing, The E-Myth Revisited, it's not a real estate book, it's just a business book. And then specifically the coaching, I mean, my God, there's no shortage. Coactive coaching, the coaching habit, A More Beautiful Question, on and on, The Extraordinary Coach, on and on and on. There's so many great books and resources. Just pick one and master it. And I know JT and I are big fans of coactive coaching. Make sure you get like the 5th edition of it. It's the most recent one. But anyways, there's
Prosperous Coach.
The Prosperous Coach. Oh my God, how could I leave that one out? Yes.
Yeah.
The Prosperous Coach. Fantastic book. So, all right, let's keep moving things along here, guys. So number 5 is retention and engagement. Hello, 6-figure coaches. That's what we're talking about here. We haven't said that, but the title of today was how to earn a 6-figure and above, income through PC programs. You work way too hard, you guys, and so does your leadership team, attracting hopefully the right talent, that we don't put enough time and emphasis on this one right here. You're teaching your agents to have drip campaigns for their database. Do you have a drip campaign to your database? I mean, your own coaching clients, let alone the market center, let alone people not with Keller Williams yet. How are you doing in that area? Some of our most successful coaches have also duplicated the market center's model, and they've created a CLC, a coaching leadership council. There's a lot of talented individuals who might be the next ALC members or mega agents in the office. Create leaders, not just create followers. Your job is not just to get them to their first 3 transactions or not just to get them to cap and then it's see you later. Let's develop people, right? And so a great book for that one is Multipliers, by the way, side note. So yes, look at all the bullet points on here. How are you showing up to love on your people and let them feel appreciated. You look at the Census Bureau as why people spend most of their lives hopping around from job to job looking for fulfillment. It's because most of them either feel undervalued, their skills are not being maximized, or they don't feel heard. Our agents are no different just because they got 1099 behind their name, okay? We got to love on them. We have to make them feel heard. We have to make them feel valued. We have to make them feel like they're using their God-given talents and abilities and maximizing that now in the real estate world. And you can't tell me, I don't care what their DISC profile says, that people don't like recognition. Babies cry for it, grown men die for it in their own ways, whether it's a pat on the back in private or a public shout it from the rooftops announcement on social media. You better be recognizing your people, small and big wins alike. We had a great hit with top 20% luncheons, quarterly events, field trips. There's so many ideas here. We can get with any one of you offline and share that if you want to, but just consider this. And so Jennifer, how do you go about showing appreciation through engagement and or retention strategies?
Well, what person, and I like things to be systematic. So I have a standard operating procedure for everything that we do in our program. And so we have an SP manual, a standard operating procedure for everything that we do. So if we're going to host a class, there's a standard operating procedure for everything that happens leading up to it, how it's executed, how we wrap it up, for how we communicate it. It's very easy. For events, for field trips, we have events, we've created things, and there's a standard operating procedure for all of it. Literally everything on here is task management. And so this is all the administrative, heavy stuff that somebody has to plan. So we teach a class called Boot Camp, and it's written for CE, and I submitted it, so there's great value there. And then there's all the logistics that go into that and the communicating around that. But one of the things when it says field trips, or that we start that at my house. The first session is at my personal home. I invite them to my home at the holidays. We engage with them. They want to see and connect with you, and that's a big piece of that. But being consistent, caring for each other, the gratitude calls, the handwritten notes, literally it's systematic. The handwritten notes, we actually have a postcard, and it has a penguin on the front, jumping onto a new device because the penguin is our mascot. So there's thematics. The idea is that the fat penguin breaks the ice, and when you get your first listing, you get a fat penguin, and it's fat, it's big, and it's presented at the team meeting, and we played a Happy Feet music, and people want the penguin more than they want the paycheck. They'll hunt me down and say, I never got my penguin. I want my penguin. I'm like, you weren't at the team meeting. We recognize, we your penguin. We do whatever we can. And we post it on Facebook. They love that. They go home. They have their penguin. Their kids love their penguin. They have it on their desk. Penguins are everywhere. But this is a systematic thing. It's a postcard with a penguin. And our administrator, whenever we have that coaching session, we've onboarded someone into coaching, the pre-type thing that says, I'm very excited to be in business with you and and I'm looking forward to many years of success with you. And she says, sign it. We sign it. It gets mailed to their home, not put in their box. We pay for postage. It goes to their mailbox. Maybe someone in their family sees it. Maybe it gets stuck on their refrigerator. I mean, all of these things are very strategic, but that's just another way they want to feel connected. When they're connected to you, they'll show up for your group coaching. They'll show up in their own business. So all of these things are just critical.
Yeah. Well said. And I love the whole penguin thing. You do a great job with that. Number 6, guys, is telling your story proactively. We've been kind of hinting at this all day, whether you do it through the language of real estate with your numbers and the program, celebrating successes. Mary Lou, one of our coaches out of the Raleigh area, does a phenomenal job with this, where she'll just do a 2-3 minute interview with one of her agents in the program and slap that sucker up in the Market Center's Facebook group. So it's not her having to brag. She's just telling the success through another agent in the program, and it creates a lot of visibility that way, right? So that social proof thing is everything, man. You can shout it from the rooftops only so much before people feel like you're just trying to sell them on something because there's a lot in it for you. But getting that third party testimony or edification through agents and those celebrations is a big way. And I firmly believe that visuals create conversations. Conversation is everything. If you're married or whatever right now, it all started with a conversation, okay? And in the book Fierce Conversations, it says that the conversation itself is the relationship. And so I remember in Fort Mill, I would have on the outside of my door a massive poster blown up for the monthly leaderboard, because so many agents would walk by there and they'd stop and see whose names are on there. These are agents not in the coaching program. But what did that lead to? Awareness and conversations, right? So blow up the market center, put it on the bathroom stalls. I don't care, do what you need to do. Visuals create conversations many, many times, and you can be as creative as you want to. We do monthly contests and things like that to create a buzz of like, what in the hell's going on in this PC program? Like, I thought that was just for new agents, but they got something going on over there. And there's an energy radiating off of the agents in PC, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So how do you go about telling your story, JT, or how have you seen other coaches be successful at that?
Yeah, you know, I've shared this before. I learned from Diana, if she didn't see you coaching in your market center, would she know there's a coaching program? So if somebody from the outside is new, would they see it? Do they know it? And what do they think of it? So we have to tell that story, or somebody else will, or there'll be no story, right? And so we certainly have to be I love how Mary Lou brings other people in, let other people tell the story. And it reminds me, bring in one of the things that we do to help tell that story and to insulate the conversation with our leadership is we ask our top performing agents, typically LC, to come in and we showcase them. Come in and do your listing presentation. Come in and do your buyer strategy session. We showcase those agents in that environment. So it's a controlled environment. We've bridged the gap in the market center, because oftentimes when your market centers grow, some of the old faithfuls will be like, I don't know anybody anymore. Anybody ever heard that?
Yeah.
Well, because they're not engaging with us either. So we have to get them engaged with us as well. So we have to show up or ask them to show up. That's a big thing. You know, the minute that the numbers come in, are you texting out? Are you using the graphics? And whatever you send, you can send in multiple mediums. Don't just post on Facebook. You have to post on Facebook. You have to email it. You have to text it. You have to say it at team meeting. You have to print it out and hang it all over the market center. Like, you have to have, we call it the seven touches. Everything we do has to have 7 ways that it goes out. 7 ways. Don't communicate the way that you want to be communicated with. You are communicating with the masses. Mm-hmm. If you can do 7 ways, like 7th level, 7th ways, 7th level open house, 7 whatever, right? We like that number 7 at Keller Williams. It goes really well. That just goes back to a standard operating procedure, to be honest with you. Everything goes back to what's the SOP of that. Awesome. And everyone knows the SOP. So everybody on the team knows.
Yeah, I love that. And to your point too, like, this is a skill set, guys. Just like asking questions is a skill set, knowing how to follow coaching models is a skill set. I got to tell you, how to tell a story is a skill set. So if you need help in this area, here's a couple, 2, 3 books for you. Sorry, my daughter's right here. Yes, we're wearing matching shirts. You look good, baby. The Storyteller's Secret changed my life. Check it out, The Storyteller's Secret. Creating or building your story brand. And then lastly, Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Those are phenomenal books. If you guys need any help at all in this department around how to capture the story, how to tell it, those are wonderful. Start there, okay?
Can I say something about that?
Please do.
you know, we see this with agents all the time. Quit trying to create something that's perfect the first time you do it too. Just start executing. Start executing, start executing, start telling, start doing, start doing. Don't think you have to have it all figured out. Just pick one and do it. And then tweak the message or what you want it to sound like. And then improve the message as you get better and bigger and have more leverage. But execution, this is why we know that we don't get things done. It's analysis paralysis. Quit thinking about it. Quit wondering if you should have a brand. Oh, should I start the LLC? Just do it.
Yeah. I love that. Sorry, I was typing those books in the chat there. Oh, shoot. I sent that to JT. Can you copy those? And somebody had asked.
Yes.
Yeah. And last thing I promise, and we'll move on, is guys, get out of your head just for a minute that telling your story is always sunshine and rainbows. Oh my God, what an opportunity for you to be authentic and transparent and say, hey, I'm kind of vlogging here. I'm documenting my journey. Here's where I royally screwed up. I just did this yesterday with JT and a group of 9 other of our locker room leaders, where I shared 4 specific things where I have massively failed over the last 3 years and what we can learn from that. That too is part of telling my story. Not just the good. I'm sharing when I screw up, and I'm going to own it, because here's the lesson I learned, and you can, I paid the stupid tax for you, so you don't have to make this same mistake perhaps, okay? So part of the storytelling isn't just, wow, look who did this and all the excitement and positives. I'm telling you what, people eat it up if you're just real and raw and unscripted, and you're willing to share the bad and ugly too. All right. Okay. Number 7, we're doing good. You guys are sticking with us here. Thank you so much. 6-figure productivity coach, man. Number 7. JT and I are passionate about this.
Oh, gosh.
When I said earlier that I interviewed 62 productivity coaches before taking this role, leaving my TL job, 61 ways I knew I didn't want to do it. With all due respect, this is the big one. I flipped the traditional PC model on its head, and we got disproportionate results. Everybody up till that point, maybe you're different, was group coaching people to death. They had these stupid things in place, sorry if this offends you, that people have to earn one-on-one with you a month because they've now closed 5 deals. I fundamentally hate that, and hate is a strong word, and I hate that. Your time is not more important. Those are the very people who need you. I have done survey after survey with thousands of locker room agents. The number one value they get from your PC program is one-on-one coaching. Everything else is a distant second. If you are not doing one-on-ones, you are massively giving your people a disservice. If it's group until they close 3 deals, I don't buy into it. What I did was everybody, I mean everybody, brand new or just getting ready to cap, gets 2 30-minute one-on-ones with me a month, and it's their right to unearn them if they don't report numbers or whatever my standards were. I flipped it on its head, and that is what led to our explosive growth. If you are struggling, you're not getting the results, and you're worried about your time, I get it. You're right. You can't coach 1 million people. So what's more important? The quality of service you provide, or trying to reach growth for growth's sakes at the expense of a real relationship? If you just shove people in a group, they'll hide, they will disengage, and your productivity will limp along. The magic happens in a one-on-one setting, not in a group setting. JT, I could talk for days on this, but I won't. So what do you have to add?
Well, I mean, I just repeat, ditto. The one-on-one is the coaching. Everything else is not. In fact, you can't even be effective as a group coach until you're in relationship with people one-on-one. And so the group coaching comes into place when it's a band question. And I just want to know, what's your bandwidth? Do you know your bandwidth? And if you've met your bandwidth, dive into skill and grow your team so that you can still deliver excellent coaching. Don't just hire the buyer's agent to go shove them around. Right buyer's agent in order to insulate the experience that your customers are having, that your clients are having. Insulate that. Have it with a passion. Have it with a passion. Group coach other people to become coaches first. Leverage one-on-ones before you use group to leverage. And group is cool, but group is not 40 people, y'all. You don't group 40 people to coach. You can group coach about 10, maybe 15. Awesome. You can't get into relationship. There's no way I know what you're getting at. Right now here today, it's 28 people on this call. We're you today. We're educating you, and we're telling you, we're sharing with you. This is not coaching. This is teaching and sharing. And so I just can't use tools to create that, but it's all about the one-on-one.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, this was my one thing when I was a PC. I didn't have a sales team. I told you I left the TL role, went straight to PC. So this was my one thing. But I got upwards of 73 agents that I was personally coaching. I'm like, hell no, this is too much. So mathematically, I knew roughly I could handle 60 because in theory, follow me here, 60 people. And let's assume 100% of them are showing up. That's 120, because everybody gets 120 coaching sessions per month. You with me? 60 times 2 apiece, 120. Well, if I have 20 working days, because I shut it off and I do keep my weekends to myself, 20 working days in a month, what does that mean? That's about 6 appointments a day, AKA 3 hours of actual coaching time if each one is 30 minutes. So what I did was 1, 2, 3, take a break. 1, 2, 3, I'm done with coaching for the day. And I've got 4 or 5 other hours that I can do groups, administration, whatever I need to do, aside from the actual time spent coaching. When you just reverse engineer and chunk this thing down, you can handle it, guys. Now, everybody's got their own capacity. Maybe your number's 40, not 60 or whatever it is. But check out bullet point number 3. That's what I learned. I had a decision to make. Instead of Jake reducing services so his capacity could grow, I chose to keep the services what they were and add talent to my coaching staff. Len Cornacchia, Debbie Hauser. I brought in other coaches who had to run the same play. And I do not, no offense, believe in the launch coaching concept. I hate it. I've never seen it work. You're crazy. So Len and Debbie, that's just an opinion, Len and Debbie had every right to coach somebody from 0 to cap just like me. I just received a percentage because they were like my buyer specialists, if you will, on the team, okay? But I don't believe in the stair stepper because it's not an assembly line where I pass this agent off to one coach to the next, right after we just got done establishing a rapport, right after they tell me their big why and we've bonded, next thing they know, they're re-explaining all of that to the next coach just because of a tiered system, 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 7 to cap. It's too much. Don't complicate something that's not that complicated.
Well, here's the other thing I've learned over the time period is it isn't until year 2 or 3 that you really get into the good conversations anyway. So if you're passing people off, you're missing the best part of it. You're really not in strategery with them. In the beginning, it's logistics and it's necessarily strategic or relationship based. So, I just can't say enough about it. Don't group together until you physically need to herd cats. But I mean, even then you can have group for group's sake, but you're not going to get the attendance. Yeah. And that gets watered down. So if you want to have 100% engagement in group, then you need to be 100% engaged with one-on-one. Yeah. Now, again, all due respect, I preface this by saying this is very against the model. I have a ton of respect for what MAPS and them do and the game book. I mean, JT said she helped write the game book. Yeah. And so don't be surprised if you get resistance if you try to implement this, that this is not the model. There is no model, first of all. Just let it be known. There's 61 ways not to do it, right? There is no model for this. Yes. You just can follow other people who have done it and it's worked well for them. But if you're not exactly like Jake and you're not exactly like Jennifer, you're not going to do it exactly like us and get the exact same results. There are proven systems and models. That's what we're sharing with you. These are basic things that you then take and move on, right? Because the MREA is a model, but it's a logistic model. It's not a personality model.
There you go. Well said.
So you may have to tweak a little bit.
Well said. So take it or leave it, guys. It's just our experience, and that's what we can speak to. It may not be in a textbook, but there you have it. So last but certainly not least is do what you ask others to do. How are you showing up? If you're asking people to script and role play every day and you're banging your head against the wall because they're not doing it, how are you? Are you showing up in script and role playing? If you want your agents to lead generate, how are you lead generating? If you want agents to use command or be on a drip campaign system, how are you doing? I could go on for days about this, but number two, and JT brought it up earlier, do you have a coach? If you don't have a coach, you are a fraud. I said it, you can be mad at me. I'm not here to win popularity contests. If you do not have a coach yourself, you are a fraud. You are selling something that apparently you don't even believe in yourself. Now, I hope the Market Center will pay for that on your behalf. If they don't, is that a dead end for you? Or are you going to be resourceful? Now, the good news, insert humble brag, is with our community, we have coaches exchanging services. Locker room coaches are coaching fellow locker room coaches and calling it a wash because that's the culture we have. If that's not for you, that's fine, but you better go out and get a coach. Because how can you expect others to do it when you don't even have a coach for yourself? Or you're letting money be the deciding factor whether you have one or not. So,
well, what's interesting about that is when you run it as a business. So at the 7th level, I will tell you right now, everything that happens and moves through coaching, the decisions that Jennifer makes, I have no way, I do not need the approval from the team leader or the OP. Why? Because I'm 100% sustainable on my own. So yes. I pay the locker room. I pay for my coach. It comes from my coaching company. I'm not just collecting a fee from people who are in production. I'm running a company with that. I have payroll and I have a coach and systems and models. I pay for things. I'm not just waiting for the Market Center to make a decision. And let me tell you what happens when you do that. Like amazing things happen, right? Amazing things happen for you so that you can change lives and be an entrepreneur, because that's what you're teaching. And so I kind of go back to the same thing again. Are you being who you need them to be? If you don't have a coach, people are going to question whether or not they should have a coach. Yep. It's like being a smoker and telling your kids not to smoke. That doesn't work.
Yep. Yep. Well said there. Guys, there's a lot we could add to this one, but you get the point by now. Just show up the way you expect others to show up. And sometimes it's obvious, but it's not so obvious, because what's easy to do is also easy not to do. And we got to hold up the mirror sometimes and have a checkup from the neck up. So with that, guys, we tried to sneak this in as much as we could, and we're right at time. So if you have questions, I can stick around for a couple of minutes. JT, I don't know about you, but follow us, reach out to us. We are here to help you. We're not here to sell you on anything. If a coach can help another coach out, that's what it's all about. And then everything else is secondary from there. So I just want to thank you guys very much for your engagement today. And we'd love to hear any ahas that you got from today. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see each other. And any questions that you have so we can wrap up. Did you get anything out, or was this an hour and a half of wasted time? First three question, hang on. Can you go over the first 3 topics you coached to during the first 3 coaching sessions with an agent? So we have a single page for that. We can certainly get out there, but in summary, I personally spend the first session. It's a 1 hour long, and I chop that up into 20-minute segments. So the first 20 minutes is getting to know you. Remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I'm just asking questions about their family, their birthday, their dog, whatever. The second 20 minutes then is exploring what is their big why. And we're not going to get down dirty, but I just need to get a sense of what motivates this person, why do they do what they do, and why real estate. And then the last set of 20 minutes is doing an overview of our onboarding systems and tools that we offer people, so they know leaving here today what they have access to, and inside of that is a homework assignment to come back next time with their Agent Action Plan workbook completed. And so session 2, we go over their numbers, specifically their economic model inside of the Agent Action Plan. And then session 3 is really about creating the plan, like the 1-3-5, and then making sure that shows up in real time blocks on their calendar. Those are my 3 first sessions in order at a quick glance, because sessions 4 and beyond typically take on a life form of their own, because now they're out doing, and we're going to reflect and use coaching models now for those sessions. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. Yes.
You're very welcome, Tim. Sounds good, Kathy. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, and JT and I got to wrap up too. I'm 3 minutes late for a call, but any other questions? Can you talk about your thoughts on recruiting for the Market Center? Oh, Lord. We don't have enough time for that one.
Did you grow your program? Yes. Right. I mean, I think that's all that, like, seriously, it just grow, like, bring talent. Why are you at Keller Williams? We have profit share. You should always be recruiting, whether I am for your team, for your business, for your Market Center. Every single agent at Keller Williams should always be recruiting. I'll just say, unless you're getting paid to recruit, then you have a decision to make. Do you want to be paid to recruit? Or do you want to be measured on recruiting? Then that's the conversation for your leadership to be had. It doesn't have anything to do with a program or a business. That's just lead generation. So just lead generate.
Yeah, I could add to that, but we don't have time. So if you want to reach out to me privately, Rhonda, happy to help share any thoughts about that with you. So and we have resources to help on that too. But guys, we got to bounce. Sorry for not leaving more time here. I know we're all busy, and I just want to thank you once again. If you want the recording of this, reach out. My email is lockerroomcoaching@gmail.com, lockerroomcoaching@gmail.com. And Jennifer, what's your email if somebody wanted to reach out to you too?
Jennifer@tlrnation.com.
There you go.
Jennifer@tlrnation.com.
Cool. We're here to serve, guys. Let us know if you need anything. And once again, I hope you found value in this, and follow up with us if you have any additional questions or anything, okay?
Thank you.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Stay safe. Stay safe.